Hello everyone and welcome back to NetMasteryZone channel and welcome back to another video from FortiGate series. In the previous videos that we add some configuration inside our lab, and here we have access through the SD-WAN to the ISPs, and also we have access to inside, and now these windows are able to access the internet through this SD-WAN, and also we apply some internet filtering. Today we are going to speak about let me fix here. Today we are going to speak about management access to this FortiGate devices. As you know, now we are using the local admin to access this FortiGate. But it's not actually a good practice to use a local admin to a device because we don't have any accountability then. Everyone knows the admin password, and if something happens, no one is accountable and responsible to speak about that. Then let's configure our LDAP or radio server here to be able to access this FortiGate devices using this LDAP or radius protocol. And also this LDAP and radius will be used for remote access VPN. In the next videos, of course, we will have a remote access VPN to this corporate network. Then we need to have a user management to use that for accessing the corporate network here. And this user management here in this lab, I'm going to use Active Directory. Of course, there is some other devices, some other servers that provide this identity service here. Okay, let's start our lab. Let's go to our FortiGate login. To add this radius or LDAP server here in the FortiGate to be accessible, let's go to the system settings, system administrators, and here in the system administrators you can see that we have two local users. Both of them type is local, and this one is a super admin, and now we are logged in through this admin here. But here in this scenario, I'm going to configure the LDAP server and then use this LDAP server to access this management interface of the FortiGate. To configure the LDAP server, we need to go to the user and authentication, and here in the LDAP server. Currently, we don't have any LDAP server configuration, and we can create a new, but we don't have any LDAP server. Let's go and configure our LDAP server inside the Windows 2008 R2. I already have that interface here. This is my Windows 2008 R2, and I'm going to configure LDAP here in this server. Before everything, let's go and install Active Directory rule. Just let me check the IP address of this server to make sure that it has a correct subnet. It has two interfaces. One of them is used for remote access, and this one is used for connection to our corporate network. Okay, the IP address here, according to our lab, it should be 10.10.1, and this is this server has a IP address of 21. Okay, 10.10.1.21, and the gateway same. Let's use 10.10.1.21 also for DNS, and another DNS for failover. Okay, now we have a correct IP address here. Let's go and install Active Directory rule. We are going to server manager here, server manager. Let me start from 0, server manager. And in the server manager, let's go to the rules, and here let's add the rules. In the first page, it's just some information about this wizard. Let's next. What we are going to install here, we are going to install the Active Directory domain services here. Let's select that. It will give us the message that it's as a prerequisite of .NET framework. Okay, it's going to install that automatically. Add this feature, and next, some information about the server, and also some links if we need more information about installation and so on. Let's click next, and here it's going to install following rules: the Active Directory and also the .NET framework. Let's install it. Okay, the installation is succeed, and let's close this. Now the Active Directory is installed, but still we need to configure the Active Directory. Because of that, let's go to the rules. One of 17 is installed, and that is Active Directory. Let's select that, and here you can see that it say that this server is not yet running as a domain controller. We need to run it as a domain controller here. Let's click on this link, and Active Directory domain service installation wizard, it's just come for us. I'm not going to use any advanced. I'm going to use this wizard to configure this. Next, in the first page we have some information about the Windows and also the prerequisite and so on. Let's continue it. We are going to create a new domain in the NeoForest, because this is our first domain controller that we are going to install. If we have any other domain controller, of course we can change this option to existing forest, add a domain controller to an existing domain, or create a new domain to an existing forest. For now we just need to create a new domain in a NeoForest. Okay, let's click next. Here we need to provide the FQDN, fully qualified domain name, and I'm going to use the Net Mastery Zone. .com.org. This is my domain name, and I just select that. Let's click next. In the next step, we're just trying to check this if this domain that you are selected is available or it's in use, and also verifying the NetBIOS name. Okay, after the verification, it says that in which functional level we are going to install that. If we have any other domain controller that maybe they are in the oldest version of the Windows, we can select one of this. But as this is the Neo domain controller and we don't have any other domain controllers here in this domain, I'm going to select this Windows Server 2008 R2. Next, examine the DNS configuration. It's going to check the DNS, but there is no DNS server is configured here, and we are going to use the DNS server also in this server. Let's wait for completion of this configuration. Okay, now it's say that if we need to add any other services, of course we need the DNS server here, but we are not going to use this. We are going to use directly the IP address. But in case if you need to have a DNS server in this lab, maybe in the next videos we use this DNS server also. Okay, let's select this option. And here it just give me the message, and it say because I'm using the DHCP IP here. You saw this before. This Windows has two NIC card. One of them is connected to the lab, and another one is used for remote access. Because of that, it just give me this message, because one of them, that one is connected to the remote access VPN, remote desktop. That is connected to the remote desktop. It's using the DHCP IP, and it says not recommended. That is okay, because my main NIC card is already as a static IP address. Okay, it just gave me some messages about the DNS server, because it's not actually we don't have any DNS server here. We will do this configuration later. Let's continue. And here in this page, it just gives us some option to store the database and log files here. It's a lab, and I'm going to save that in the directory that it's recommended for us. But in the real environment, maybe the system engineer decide to save this in another drive. Of course, according to the requirement, it can do this. Let's continue. And when our domain controller created, we will have a username, a super admin, and that is the administrator. And here we need to give a password for that administrator. Let's click next. And here all the information that we configured before, the domain name and also the functional level of this, and also you can see here if there is any other optional rules that we are going to configure here. We are going to configure the global catalog, DNS server, and also the directory that this log and databases is going to be saved. Okay, let's click next. Now this domain controller is start to install, and let me check this. After installation, we'll reboot this server, and then we'll come back and configure this domain controller here. Okay, I just saw this information that it's showing to me. You see, it say that the creating directory partition, CN is equal to configuration, DC netmastery zone, DC com, and DC.org. This is the very important information that we will need to configure inside our FortiGate device to be able to access this LDAP server. Let me show you that information here. Inside the FortiGate, if we go to the LDAP server, to add the LDAP server, here we have the name, the IP address, the port number, and this is the common name identifier. It's CN. If it's still available here, yes, the CN, and here it was the configuration, and the rest of this I think it's just finished the configuration, the installation, and here the distinguished name, DC equal to netmastery zone, and DC equal to com, and DC equal to org, and we separate them with the comma here. It depends on your domain name that you're going to select, but we need to write that in this format. For example, let me write it now. DC equal to netmastery zone, comma, DC equal to com, and DC equal to org. This is all the my domain name, complete domain name. Let me verify that is correct. This equal to com and this equal to org. Okay, and now and the name for that. Okay, let's first configure our LDAP, and then we'll come back here for others. Okay, our server is now restarted. I'm going to connect to that again. Okay, it's not come yet. Let's wait for it. Okay, and now our server is ready. Let's log in. Okay, in the first attempt, when we install our Active Directory, it will ask us to change the password because the old password is expired. Let's change the password. And access our domain controller server. Here, first of all, let's go to the domain controller, and let's create some groups and users here inside the domain controller. I'm going to start administrative tools, and here in the domain controller, users, and computer. Let me close this all. Here you can see that we have the netmastery zone.com.org domain that we created here, and let's create a new organization unit here. I'm going to name that lab. I'm creating this because I want to make everything clear. Next time when we access these groups inside the FortiGate, it will help us to identify them very easily. Okay, inside that I'm going to create another organization unit and name that users, and one more OU and name that groups. Okay, now let's create two groups inside this group OU that we created. A new group, admin group, for example, and another one. Let me name that another group. Let me name that remote access. Why I'm creating these two groups? I'm going to use this remote access group in the next videos, and now I just create these two to show you that we can use the group base for authentication. And here in the user, let's create two users. Let me create a user, first one, name it Bob, and password. Next, and finish. And let's create another one, new user. Let's name that, for example, Sir. Next, and the password. Okay, now we have two users here. Let's assume that Sarah is in the IT team and she needs access to management of this FortiGate device. Let's add this Sarah to the group admin group, and now Sarah is in the admin group, and let me add Bob to add to group, for example, to group remote access. And Bob is one of our customer, and it's he needs access to remote access. Okay, now we have two groups here and two users. Let's go to our FortiGate, and let's try to configure our LDAP server here. Again, let's go to the user and authentication, and inside the user authentication we have to go to the LDAP server. In the LDAP server, let's name that LDAP SRV, that we can easily identify it. Then the IP address of the LDAP, it's 10.10.1.21. I'm going to use the same the default port that is comes here. CN, let it be CN, and here, as I said before, we have to write DC equal to netmastery zone separated with comma, DC equal to com with comma separated, and then DC equal to org. And with the bind type, let's select regular, and here let's type the username. I'm going to use administrator and the password for administrator. By clicking on this test connection, you see that cannot contact with the LDAP server. Probably there is a problem with the NIC card. Let's execute ping 10.10.1.21. yes, I cannot ping that. Let's go to our server. I think there is a problem with the NIC card. Let me disable that. You see that it's undefined. Let's go to the setting, disable it, and enable back. Now you see that it's netmaskreason.org. It's okay, and we should be able to now run this execute ping. Okay, now we are able to ping it. Let's test the connection. Okay, it's telling me the invalid credential. Let's use another credential, for example Sarah with its password. Test the connection. Now the connection is succeed, and here we should be able to browse to our DC. Invalid LDAP server, it means that the configuration is not correct. Let's see. It's netmaskreason. Okay, now you see that when I just correct this name, all the groups just come here, and this is most of them are the default group that is created, and this is the lab we created before, and inside the lab we have groups and user. All of them is shown here. Okay, and also we have a good option here that test user. We can test our user against the LDAP server, for example Bob and its password, to make sure that this user, if there is any problem, a user complain that he cannot connect to the management interface, or he doesn't have access to the remote access, like that we can actually by typing the username and password we can troubleshoot the problem. Okay, now let's save this. Now we have the LDAP server. Let's go and create a user group for this LDAP server. Create a new. You can see that we have some groups here. The guest group that we created, remote access that I created before, and SSO. Let's create a group and name that LDAP group. In the LDAP group, I'm going to add a remote. I'm not going to add a member to this. It's a type of firewall. I'm going to use the remote server for this. Remote server, I'm going to select the LDAP server. And in the LDAP server, you can see it show me all the groups that is available inside the LDAP server. Let's open this and let's go to the lab. Inside the lab, you can see we have two OUs. One of them is user and another one is groups. Actually, it doesn't show any users inside this because it's filtered with the group. And inside the group, you can see I have admin group and remote access group. I'm going to select this admin group to be used as a group of user who has access to the management of this FortiGate firewall. We need to right click and select. Now this group is selected. Okay. And here in this list, you can see the name of the server and also the name of the group, that is admin group. Let's save this. Now we have a LDAP group here. Okay, everything is okay now, and we just need to go to the system and assign this LDAP group in the users to be used as authentication for the management. Let's go to the system administrator, and here let's create an administrator. In the administrator, let's name that LDAP users, to make sure that we are going to use the LDAP users inside the LDAP server. And here we need to select this one, match all user in the remote server group. And what kind of the access we are going to give to this group, I'm going to make this super admin, and where is which group that is. That is remote server, remote user group, and that is the LDAP group we created before. We created, let me just explain it again. We create a LDAP server, then using this LDAP server we create a user group and point that to this LDAP server, and now we just come here inside the system and this administrator. In the administrator we just create a name and point that to this LDAP group, and okay, now this LDAP user is saved, and now we should be able to access this management using one of the user in this LDAP server. And if you remember, we add Sarah as a admin. She's in the admin group, and it's her password. You can see now I'm able to access this management using the username Sarah, and you can see this username here. Okay, now our authentication is done using the LDAP server. Let's go and try another user. For example, let's try Bob. We also have Bob user inside the domain controller. And here you can see that the authentication failure. It's because this Bob is not in the admin group. And if I add this, add to the group, to the admin group. Okay, now Bob is also part of the admin group, and this time I should be able to access this interface using the Bob username. You can see that now I'm able to access this using username Bob. Okay, it was all about the LDAP server and authentication using this LDAP. Of course, we can use this LDAP server for authenticating remote access VPN, and we will do that in the next videos. Okay, for now I believe that we have to finish our video. We configure LDAP server here, and in the next video we'll configure our radio server. Okay, please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel, and also if you have any question, please let me know in the comment and I will do my best to answer your question. For now, thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.